Did you know if you're a woman, you may be more susceptible and more vulnerable to the effects of alcohol than if you were a man? Alcohol consumption in women is a very broad area, and of course there's a spectrum to this conversation, ranging from the mild to occasional social use to the other end of the spectrum, which involves dependence, overuse, abuse, and addiction. But if you look at the sum total of how women's relationship with alcohol has really evolved, especially over the last 18 to 20 months of the pandemic, there have been some changes. I think first, the big picture view is that alcohol is, in fact, a type of drug. It has powerful central nervous system effects, and yet it is socially acceptable in our country, in our society, in our culture, and obviously in other cultures throughout the world. That can set up a potentially precarious situation or relationship for anyone. But if you look at women in particular, this is something that does have potential health consequences, both physical and psychological, and it's oftentimes really not discussed by the woman herself or by her healthcare provider. Let's talk about a serving for alcohol when women are concerned. We're talking about 1 ounce of hard liquor like tequila or vodka, a 12-ounce beer, or a 5-ounce serving of wine. Now, moderate alcohol consumption for a woman is considered 7 servings of alcohol or less per week. Here's where things get tricky. If someone drinks at home or drinks out at a bar or restaurant, it is rare, very rare today, that they're getting a serving or a pour that's as little as those numbers that I just gave. So what you think is 1 drink, i.e. 1 serving, could actually be 1.5 or even 2 servings. So that's why when healthcare providers ask a woman, or the woman asks herself, well, how much am I drinking? And we use the term drinks instead of servings, we're already going down a faulty path of calculation and math. At this point, it's pretty well known that it was a strategic marketing campaign on the part of the alcohol industry to target women, in particular moms, to make alcohol consumption cooler, more hip. But in terms of the medical, physical, psychological, and societal implications of that, I think it's really up to women to say, we have to be able to look in the mirror and ask ourselves, why am I reaching for this glass? Why am I reaching for this drink? And if the answer all the time is, I feel so tense, I feel so stressed, I need it to help calm me down, as a physician and as a nutritionist, that to me is a red flag. For the last couple of years, every January, I've done a dry January. I call it a dry January. And I want to be crystal clear. I was not doing this because I had a significant concern that I had an abuse, dependence, or addiction problem. That is a completely different category. I really did it as a wellness challenge for myself. I wanted to see how deliberate or mindless my alcohol intake was. Could I go to a restaurant and not automatically order a drink before dinner? What I realized is be more intentional, be more aware and more deliberate. There is no typical picture of someone with an alcohol problem. It could look like the executive, it could look like someone who's homeless, it could look like the soccer mom, it could look like the university professor, it could look like the celebrity. Alcohol does not discriminate in terms of its propensity to cause that kind of a problem in someone's life. That doesn't mean that it causes that kind of problem in everyone's life. But if you're concerned about your alcohol consumption, you should talk to a professional about that. If you're concerned, you shouldn't be worrying about this in isolation.